very warm welcome. I am Gushin Galan and you're watching Firstpost. In the next few minutes, I get you the top 50 updates from around the world, only here on Fast and Factual. Let's get started. We begin with the ongoing five-nation tour of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is currently in the Brazilian capital of Brasilia, after attending the BRICS summit in Rio. The Indian Prime Minister received a rousing welcome with a Brazilian samba reggae performance. Prime Minister Modi will hold bilateral discussions with Brazilian lawmakers in areas of mutual interest, including trade, defense and technology. Prime Minister Modi is currently on a five-nation state visit, which began last week in Ghana. In the United States, President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met over dinner at the White House, praising recent U.S. airstrikes on Iran's nuclear facilities. Netanyahu told reporters he had nominated Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize. The two leaders also discussed Gaza's future and Israel's potential normalization with Gulf states. Netanyahu will remain in Washington until Thursday for meetings with Vice President J.D. Vance, Speaker Mike Johnson and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. President Trump has threatened new tariffs on more than a dozen countries, including Japan and South Korea, warning of 25% duties on their exports. Other nations such as Indonesia, Bangladesh and South Africa face even steeper tariffs, ranging from 25% to 40%. The new levies are set to take effect from August 1 unless new trade deals are struck. Meanwhile, President Trump also said that Washington will send additional defensive weapons to Ukraine. This is days after the White House paused some arms shipments. Speaking to reporters, Trump said, and I quote, "Ukrainians are getting hit very, very hard," end quote. He also expressed frustration with Russian President Vladimir Putin, adding he was not happy with him. Russia's investigative committee says former Transport Minister Roman Starovoyt has been found dead with an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. This is just hours after being dismissed by President Vladimir Putin. No reason was given for his sudden dismissal. However, authorities say they are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death. Starovoyt was appointed Transport Minister in May 2024 after serving as governor of the Kursk region for nearly 6 years. Indirect negotiations between Israel and Hamas over potential Gaza ceasefire continued in Doha for a third day. As per reports, the talks remain focused on withdrawal logistics and humanitarian aid access. This is the fourth round of meetings as international pressure mounts to end the months-long conflict. Houthi rebels have allegedly targeted a second commercial vessel just 50 nautical miles west of Yemen's Hodeidah port. The Liberian-flagged Eternity C, a Greek-managed bulk carrier, came under fire off the coast of Yemen while sailing north towards the Suez Canal. According to reports, the ship was attacked by rocket-propelled grenades, sea drones and small boats. 2 crew members were reportedly seriously injured and 2 others still missing. This comes after they attacked a cargo ship in Red Sea on Sunday, which later sunk. At least 10 people were killed in Kenya as police clashed with anti-government protesters. Authorities blocked key roads into Nairobi and shut down much of the capital in the toughest crackdown yet. Demonstrators lit bonfires and hurled stones, while police responded with tear gas. Weeks of unrest led largely by youth have been fueled by anger over police brutality, alleged corruption and soaring living costs, with protesters demanding President William Ruto's resignation. As per reports, India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau has submitted a preliminary report on the AI-171 crash, which occurred shortly after takeoff from Ahmedabad en route to London on June 12th. 214 people on board lost their lives. The report includes initial findings related to weather, flight data, crew actions, and aircraft performance. Full details are not yet public as investigations continue. Thailand's cabinet has withdrawn a controversial bill to legalize casino gambling once the flagship economic proposal of the ruling Fourth Eye Party. The move comes just days after the party's prime minister was suspended and coalition allies jumped ship, leaving the party clinging to a slim majority. Officials cited the need for more study and public understanding. Critics say the delay is a missed opportunity to formalize Thailand's underground gambling economy. On to climate news now. The death toll from Texas floods rose to over 100 on Monday. At least 1,750 crew members were deployed with helicopters and boats. According to reports, critics questioned warning system failures in flood-prone areas, but officials said weather alerts were issued on time. The flood struck central Texas over the July 4 weekend. Many of the victims were girls and staff at a summer camp in Kerr County. Rescue teams continue to search for the missing. Chinese coastal cities in the east took precautions as Typhoon Danas approached. In China, over 2,000 fishing boats took shelter in southeastern province after the storm made landfall in Taiwan on Sunday night. In China's Zhejiang, officials evacuated tourists from islands and closed scenic spots. Trains were suspended while strong winds and flood risks remained a threat. Authorities urged people to stay indoors and follow safety advice. A massive wildfire broke out in southern France. Flames swept through hilly areas on Monday. Residents were evacuated and highways were closed. Firefighters and planes tried to control the blaze. However, the fire remained out of control. Over 1,400 hectares of land has been destroyed so far. Authorities said strong winds made it hard to contain the blaze. Firefighters in Spain battled a wildfire in the Catalonia mountains on Monday. The fire broke out in the Tarragona province and burnt over 150 hectares. Thick smoke filled the air as crew worked to control the flames. Meanwhile, strong winds made firefighting harder. At least 75 ground teams and over 16 air units were deployed in the province. Several towns faced evacuation and stay-in orders. Officials said no weather relief was expected until later today. A new study warned that melting glaciers could trigger more volcanic eruptions. Researchers in Chile found that when ice melts, pressure is lifted from volcanoes. They said this has caused more frequent and explosive eruptions in the past. According to reports, such eruptions could release more heat-trapping gases. This study was presented at a global science conference in Prague. Experts warned that better monitoring is key to avoid future disasters in volcanic zones. On to business and tech news now. Asian shares traded mostly higher earlier today after early losses following President Trump's new tariff letters to 14 countries, including Japan and South Korea. Japan's Nikkei index turned positive in the day, while South Korea's Kospi jumped over 1.5% and broader Asia-Pacific gains remain muted. On the Wall Street, stocks closed lower on Monday, with the Dow, S&P 500 and Nasdaq all falling just under 1%. The Japanese yen fell to a two-week low after Donald Trump unveiled 25% tariffs on Japan and South Korea, rattling investor confidence across foreign exchange markets. The South Korean won also dropped nearly 1% overnight, while the US dollar held firm, supported by broader safe haven demand. Australian business activity surged last month as new data showed rising sales, stronger profits, and a sharp pickup in overall conditions. The monthly survey reported a jump in business conditions, with confidence also rising for third straight month despite global uncertainty. Billionaire Elon Musk's wealth reportedly fell by $14 billion on Monday after he unveiled a new political platform, the America Party. The drop followed a 7% slide in Tesla's stock, with reports pointing to investor concerns over Musk's deepening political involvement. China's BYD is set to begin vehicle assembly in Brazil this month as it rushed to localize production before higher tariffs kicked in its largest foreign market. The company shipped over 22,000 cars from China early this year, but now plans to assemble 50,000 vehicles locally this year at a new plant in Bahia State. Trump Media launched its global streaming platform Truth Plus, featuring conservative cable network Newsmax as part of its international expansion push. The platform went live across iOS, Android, and connected TV devices, including Apple TV, Fire TV, and Roku, after weeks of beta testing in late last month. British luxury car maker Jaguar Land Rover says its global sales fell nearly 11% in the first quarter as shipments to the US were temporarily halted following a 25% tariff imposed by President Trump. The company sold over just 87,000 units worldwide, with North American sales dropping over 12% and Jaguar's legacy lineup slumping nearly 72%. Reports suggested that US online sales were expected to surge to $23.8 billion this week during Amazon's 96-hour Prime Day event as shoppers hunted for bargains. The report projected a 28% jump from last year, calling it equivalent to 2 Black Fridays with strong demand for electronics, apparel and college essentials. Samsung Electronics announced a new deal to acquire US-based healthcare platform Xealth as it expands into digital medicine and mobile health services. The move marks a push beyond semiconductors and smartphones, with Samsung aiming to combine its wearable tech with Xealth's network of over 500 US hospitals. The South Korean company did not disclose the value of the transaction. AI infrastructure firm Corvair announced a $9 billion deal to acquire crypto miner Core Scientific in all-stock transaction as demand for energy-rich data centers surges. The move gives CoreWeave access to 1.3 gigawatts of power capacity as Bitcoin miners continue to pivot toward AI amid softening crypto returns and rising computing needs. Moving to sports, we begin with tennis. Serbian icon Novak Djokovic recovered from a set-down to beat 11th seed Australian Alex de Minaur 1-6, 6-4, 6-4, 6-4. With this, the 7-time Wimbledon champion entered the tournament's quarter-final for a record 16th time. The 38-year-old remains on track for a record-breaking 25th Grand Slam title. And a heartbroken Grigor Dimitrov left Wimbledon's centre court in tears after being forced to retire injured during a last 16 battle against world number 1 Yannick Sinner. The Bulgarian was 2 sets up when he was unable to continue due to supposed muscle injury. Dimitrov was leading 3-6, 5-7, 2-all when he left the court as Sinner got a place in the Wimbledon quarterfinals. Polish 8th seed Iga Świątek reached the Wimbledon quarterfinals with a 6-4, 6-1 rout of Danish 23rd seed Clara Tauson. Świątek, a 5-time Grand Slam winner, has never made it to the Wimbledon final. But the 24-year-old in a strong position in the second week of the tournament after the exit of many of the top seeds such as Coco Gauff and Jessica Pegula. And it's the end of the road for Indian tennis stars at Wimbledon. This as Yuki Bhamri, along with American partner Robert Galloway, suffered a round of 16 defeat. The duo lost to a pair from Spain and Argentina 4-6, 6-3, 7-6. In football, Spain reached the quarterfinals of Women's Euro Cup as the world champions hammered Belgium 6-2. A brace from Alexia Putellas and further goals from Irene Paredes, Esther Gonzalez and Claudia Pina gave Spain a thumping win. And Real Madrid's Kylian Mbappe will play against his former club Paris Saint-Germain or PSG during the Club World Cup semi-final. Mbappe sent 7 prolific campaigns at the PSG, departing the club as their all-time top scorer with 256 goals in 308 games. In cricket, New Zealand have picked fast bowler Matthew Fisher for the first time in their 15-member squad. Fisher has been included in the team for the Red Ball series against Zimbabwe, scheduled later this month. The former New Zealand under-19 player has taken 51 first-class wickets at an average of 24.11 across 14 matches. Bengaluru IPL franchise bowler Yash Dayal was booked on an alleged sexual assault charges. Police in Ghaziabad in India's national capital region registered a case against Dayal on the charges of sexual intercourse by deceitful means, including a false promise of marriage. Jasper Philipsen, the winner of the Tour de France's opening stage, was forced to pull out of the 21-day race. This after the Belgian suffered a broken collarbone in a high-speed fall. Philipsen won the 2023 green jersey as best sprinter on the edition of the Tour and has 10 career victories in the race. Meanwhile, reports say Orlando Magic forward Paolo Banchero has agreed to a 5-year maximum rookie contract extension with the NBA club. The extension has been reportedly agreed at a whopping $239 million. Banchero was forced to take a 2-month break due to injury in the last season. but he still produced career-high averages of 25.9 points, 7.5 rebounds as well as 14.6 assists. And finally, from entertainment, Zayn Malik appears to open up about racial discrimination in a teaser for his upcoming track Fuchsia C. The British-Pakistani singer raps about being the only person of color in the band, referencing the backlash he faced and his grandfather's immigrant journey. The lyrics reflect deeply personal and cultural struggles now woven into his solo artistry. K-pop icons Blackpink are hyping fans with a teaser for their new music video Jump. This is days after debuting the track on the Deadline World Tour. The edgy 30-second clip showcases Billboard-lit cityscapes and mural art, with each member, Rose, Lisa, Jennie and Jisoo, channeling dark glam. The full video drops July 11th at midnight ET. Fresh off the heels of Wicked director John M. Chu is gearing up for Warner Bros.' live-action adaptation of Mattel's Hot Wheels. The high-octane film promises sleek, world-class vehicles, though plot details remain under the wrap. Chu says the film aims to capture the spirit of imagination and play. The move follows Mattel's post-Barbie push to bring more of its toy brands like Polly Pocket and Uno to the big screen. DC Studios co-head James Gunn has officially confirmed that Matt Reeves' script for The Batman Part 2 is complete. Speaking at the Superman premiere, Gunn offered a short but glowing endorsement. The much-anticipated sequel to the 2022 hit is slated to hit theatres on October 1, 2027. This is after production delays pushed back its timeline. Aaron Pfeiffer has filed for divorce from actor Denise Richards after 6 years of marriage, citing irreconcilable differences. Court filings list July 4 as their official separation date. The couple, who married in 2018, have no children together. Pfeiffer is requesting spousal support, revealing Richards' income streams in the process. That's all for today. Thank you for joining us. I am Gushin Galan and we'll see you right back here tomorrow. Stay informed and stay tuned to Firstpost.